I have been asked to talk about psychoanalysis, specifically Jungian, and how it applies to people with avoidant personality disorder. So I'm sure I said this like a bunch of times, but I just want to put the disclaimer right out there. What I'm talking about is my experience primarily, and it very much could be different for other people, because I know somebody who does primarily psychoanalysis and has gone in and looked at it multiple times and completed their searching and then gone back again, and it works for them. What it basically does is looks for sources of current behaviors, and so you look into your past to see why you do things the way you do them now. That's really, really, really sort of, cutting it right down. It's not quite accurate, but in a nutshell, that's what you do. It doesn't work for me. Really doesn't work for me. And actually, I was talking to somebody about making this specific video because, again, I always feel like I'm really negative in these, and I'm trying to be positive, and they said, well, one of the reasons that it doesn't work for you, and that general trauma therapy doesn't work for me, is that I'm still exposed on basically a daily level to the traumas that I experienced as a child, because both my parents are elderly, and I have to take care of both of them, and I don't live with them, thank goodness, but I have to basically help them to survive, and both of them, independently, because they're divorced, have decided to blame me for their infirmities. So, for instance, if my mother is incapable of doing something physically, she will then say that, no, I'm just a terrible daughter that won't help her, won't do what she needs to make it available for her to do what she needs to do. Things like, she wants me to take her shopping. Okay, well, then first she needs to get dressed and we're going to leave the house. Well, she doesn't get that. All she remembers is that I didn't take her shopping. I didn't take her shopping because she wouldn't get dressed. Anyway, way off track there. Anybody that's got adult parents that are starting to fail maybe understand that. So, looking into my past, this is what happens with me. Oh God, I keep going and starting, and because the problem is it's like a whole bunch of stuff that happens at once. I have, they call them belief system, that basically says I'm the worst. I'm unworthy, etc., etc. You've all heard it before. And I'm to blame for that. And it's not anything I did. I was born this way. That I have avoidant personality disorder because I was supposed to, for whatever reason. Now, what's weird is, of course, I don't think anybody else that has avoidant personality disorder was born that way and was as like doomed, and I really wish everybody else could find a way to make themselves better. But for me, I just don't think it's possible. So if I go into the past, there's a double problem. First of all, I'm re-traumatized. I don't go in and remember something that happened when I was 4 years old or something, and I feel in any way, shape, or form better about it. And a lot of people do. They're like, there's something happened, and I don't really remember what happened, but something happened, and I blame myself for it. And then they go back and they look at this memory and they realize, oh no, you there's no way that, you know, as an adult, maybe you could have made a choice, but as a child, you were too little. You couldn't have done anything. So calm down about it. And they do calm down about it. For me, the blame continues. There's nothing I can do, nothing I have found that will sort of mitigate it, that will make it go away from me, the blame. And the responsibility, I mean, it's how I am. So it re-traumatizes me, and I get no closure and no sense of, I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's actually literally difficult for me to come up with words to describe how you're supposed to feel after going through this. You're basically supposed to feel relieved. Like, I've got the explanation, now I can let that go. That is not what happens with me. What happens with me is I re-experience it, and then it's right in the forefront, and it's with me again. So, you know, that's problem number one. I mean, I already remember enough awful stuff. I don't need to remember, you know, some terrible thing that happened and would break my heart to think that anybody would treat a child like that. So there's problem number one for me. Now, problem number two, and this is also why CBT doesn't work, cognitive behavioral therapy. Again, it's the cognitive, is the thinking thing. This is like huge for me, and I don't know if this works with other people, but I've said before that I think that people with avoidant personality disorder have extra sticky neural pathways. And so they remember stuff better, and they can't just let things go. And yeah, so that's a problem for me. If I go back into the past, if I discover, oh, you know, my parents screwed up here, there, or whatever, you know, yeah, I was at a certain place at a certain time that there's no way that I can be responsible for. I think I've talked about it before. In my family, I mean, okay, you're sitting down, right? In my family, I am blamed for my little sister's alcoholism. She's 5 years younger than me, and I was in college about 800 miles away when she started drinking. My fault. Now, I don't know why my parents and the entire family and my sister blame me for it. I mean, I think it's because I left. I left her alone. I should have been there to protect her. Doesn't matter. She had two parents that were drinking. I didn't drink until I turned 21. Well, I didn't make the choice to drink until I was 21. My parents thought it was really cute to see drunk toddler, and so they would give me alcohol when I was a baby. And that's probably why I don't really like to drink as an adult, and I was not interested in drinking. Well, plus it's just a weird kid, you know. I didn't do anything you're supposed to do when you're underage. But yeah. Now, it's asinine. I mean, this is one of all the things that I've heard. That's one I reject the most. No, you know, both my parents were very hardcore alcoholics. Obviously, if anybody got my sister drinking, well, they definitely were the ones who were the role models. The other thought, and this is harsh warning, is, you know, I was always my father's target when he would physically come after us. When I left, I wasn't there to be the punching bag, so I guess my sister was. Maybe that's the blame why my sister became an alcoholic. It's my fault. But this is what I'm saying. This one is one of the few, because I didn't hear it until I was an adult. I was like in shock when I heard it, because it was ridiculous. My sister is a hardcore alcoholic. You know, she drinks about a fifth of vodka a day. So that one I could say, this is lunacy, this is crazy, there's no way in hell. No, I am not to blame for this. That one I could say, no. But these other ones, the ones that I grew up believing, which are so intrinsic that I can't really even give you a specific example of them. Well, I keep saying I have this black spot. That is the avoidance in my soul. There we go. There's one of them. Well, see, this is really hard. It's hard for me to get these words out of my mouth because it's just wrong. You know, whenever I think I'm the worst at everything. And so when I come across somebody who's clearly worse than me, that causes massive cognitive dissonance to me because it's just wrong. This is not how the world is. The world is, I am the worst at everything. And I am unworthy of everything. I'm unworthy of air. I'm wasting the earth's resources when I breathe. This is seriously what I think. And this is how I've been treated by everybody. This is another thing I heard. Well, that's because I only let in the bad people. It's like somebody who comes from an alcoholic family, and then they expect drama, and they can't stand a calm person in their life because they need drama all the time. It's the same. I expect people are going to treat me like shit, therefore everybody treats me like shit. Yeah. But that cognitive dissonance is what gets me even worse than the, even worse than whatever it's, I can't come up with any these crazy wrong ideas that are so clearly, logically, factually, straight up wrong. They're just wrong. They're unfactual. And yet I still believe them. And see, that drives me nuts because that makes me feel like I'm an absolute idiot. How can I believe that? I mean, it's just bad. It's like a logic puzzle that I keep trying to figure out the answer for. Why am I mistreated for this when, anyway, on and on and on. That drives me crazy. So therefore, it's really bad on all accounts. It re-traumatizes me and it causes me massive mental distress to try to confront my core beliefs, is what they call them. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. For me, now, again, like I said, I know somebody that it works for. Maybe not 100%. I think that it's probably like, again, I'm speculating, but I think what it does is it lays the groundwork for Zen therapy. You understand why this happened. Okay, well then I guess I can make some changes. So I don't know. See, I would, if I was you and you're questioning it, I would try it on a very small, low-key trial basis and see how you react. And I mean, I'm talking like a couple weeks, maybe read a book and have somebody like pull you through looking at a memory or something like that. And then sit with it for a little while and see how you react, because it could be like, wow, somebody has turned on the lights, I understand. Or it could be like me, where it makes everything way more awful. I just remember things I didn't want to remember, and feel even worse about myself than when I started.